Hey team, this is a strategy example using our 1 minute bullish pivot pro on ticker RBNE, and the time of this session and video was 6/13/2025 at 12:15 p.m. Now the move has already occurred pretty much in the pre-market. This gray area is the pre-market. Going to turn on our indicators, and really we're going to focus on a few of these indicators that we have, but mostly the 1 minute bullish pivot pro, which is one of my favorites, if not my favorite, in the group that we have. So RBNE, this stock was alerting this morning. You can see we got the alert early on 6:29 a.m. Eastern time, where it was in alert around 474. If we draw a vertical line around 6:29, that was right in this area, so Alt V. And you can see this line is going to represent that news, so we can better analyze what happened at that time. You can see this was listed as a continuation watch. We do have some major reds to contend with, so our trend IQ indicator on the left-hand side is going to really just identify some of the key factors and conditions that we need to see in order for it to be a continuation watch or a possible lotto type play. So we want to really assess the conditions as much as possible before trading. The trend IQ will do that. If we zoom in on the time of the first alert from this morning, if I go ahead and zoom in on the chart here, you'll see that we have the indicator, the 1 minute bullish pivot pro is providing these pivot zones that you see here, pivot zone, pivot zone. You also see the lines in the background. The lines in the background will be our confirmation, support, and resistance. We won't focus as much on that during this session or this video. Instead, we're going to focus on the 1 minute bullish pivot pro, as this is more of a tutorial for that. So the 1 minute bullish pivot pro, we have it closed above this pivot zone right here. We have these red candles. So we have the green candle here, but as you see on the histogram down below, this is going to be our volume histogram down below. This does not show much volume on that first initial pop. So we're waiting for volume like this here to confirm. Once we have the volume, the yellow and green histogram bars down below, we can then confirm, yes, we have volume, and look for an entry. This pivot zone is formed to give us that momentum type of setup. We're looking for it to then close above. This candle closed above, so if I turn off the indicators here, or I turn off the, let me see if I do this like this, you'll see this was a green candle closed above this pivot zone right here. So this candle right here that I'm hovering over, you'll see was a green candle right there, that green candle there. So green candle closed above our pivot zone. Our indicator is going to color code the candles itself. So it's going to change the colors from red to green depending on the where that price and volume is landing. We want to make sure we're above our pivot zones for bullish momentum. Below the pivot zone is bearish momentum. So looking at this, we also have the trend zone down below, and we can use that to stay in our trade for a longer period of time. So looking at this setup here, close above that pivot zone is bullish. Then I can enter into my trade on this candle, and then I'm looking to possibly either add or hold into this test of this pivot zone. And then if we come below that pivot zone, I can stop out. That's going to be my way to mitigate risk. And you can see when we have this BVT, it's a bullish vertical trend, so I'll be locking in some profit. So of course the 1 minute bullish pivot pro will basically give you all of these indications all in the same indicator. So it's really a Swiss Army knife in our tools. So RBNE then closed above again on this candle. So as we pulled back here, we have this red candle. The reason for it, we formed another pivot zone. So for anyone who missed out on the first pivot zone here, okay, there's another, and same idea. I want to see a clean close above that pivot zone. This is a 1 minute chart. We see this candle closed above the pivot zone, and that is going to be our area of value. So we can get in on this candle, we can add into this dip, or we can sell if it goes below. All of a sudden it starts to shoot up, and we're starting to take profit because this turns out to be a really nice trade. For anyone who took something like this, we measure that out, getting in on this top of this candle, where's the close, and looking at the top of this, it's 38% in a matter of minutes. A really impressive move for RBNE. Now at this point, we see these red candles here again. That's because we have the BVTs pulled back and formed another pivot zone. And these pivot zones are great because that's the whole point of the Pivot Pro, is that it's going to allow you to stay into these momentum plays. You can either scalp it or you can trend trade it by staying in this trend area here. So it's really up to you. So if you're in down here, you took profit on this move, maybe you're using this trend zone to stay in your trade for a longer move. And sure enough, it would have worked out for you in RBNE. We'll go over exactly how well it worked out. But this is another pivot zone being formed here. So if you're momentum trading, close above, there it is. Get into your position. If we start to test down here, we can add, or if we add into our zone, again, our stop loss would be just below that. So as we start to pull away from that pivot zone, I'm using this zone here as my stop loss or my area of value. As we see another pivot zone forming at the top of this move in those red candles, taking profit into the BVTs. And then at this point, we see the red candles again. That's because we're above the most recent pivot zone. We have a green candle here. It closed above above that pivot zone over here, but did not hold. So this is a BVT, a bullish vertical trend. So that's a red flag. Pulled back the next candle after that red flag showed, and then all of a sudden it started to fade, basically fade off for a little bit there. Now, this was the beginning of the move. And if you're a trend trader using this trend line down below, you can see it's green right now. It could be blue on yours maybe. As long as it's not red. We have red for basically if it's red, that means it's a bearish trend or a short trend. And so at that point, we want to be careful. So you can see this is gapping up, giving those opportunities all throughout the day. We have multiple alerts on here letting you know when to take the trade long, when to take the trade short, and when you should be locking in profit. And as we see this pullback, we are getting some choppy price action here. At this point, we want to see it hold up above both the pivot zones, so green candles in conjunction with the green trend line would be ideal. You can see that we did not have that here. We did have a couple of nice moves here. This is a close above the trend line, pull back, stayed above the trend line, gapped up. There's your green candle. There's your nice move. So even on this right here, it doesn't look like much, but if you took at the top of this move, this is 4 or 5% over 50 cents per share in a matter of 1 minute. So it's a really fast move. Did not hold, pulled back, closed down below here. Okay, we're looking for that green candle. Starting to chop up a little bit here, and this is the market open. So, of course, we expect it to be a little bit choppier during the first 15 minutes after market open. So that'd be 9:30 to 9:45 a.m. Eastern time. This is 9:45 right here on this candle. We then pulled back, so we are still seeing some opportunities here, but of course the best move was the first move, if you were able to catch that. And if not, we did have some other opportunities that worked out to be really nice as well. This one right here was a close above, pulled back to the trend zone, then a close above the pivot zone as well. Pivot zone's over here. So we closed above that pivot zone, continued BVTs, pull back, right? We're just taking profit as we see it and then holding that lotto in case we see continuation. As we see it break that line, give us that short trend right there. That is, of course, where we're exiting the position, or if we're exiting at the pivot zone. Either way, guys, we're locking in profit on these type of moves, right? This is really impressive. If we measure this out, if you guys can see this, 362%. But even a move like this, if you're getting on this as a lotto play, even if you got at the top of this candle closed in here, up to that pivot zone, 32%. And again, it's a matter of minutes. So we're just using these the 1 minute bullish pivot pro in conjunction with the volume down below. At this point, we are chopping a little bit of moves here. We are seeing some opportunities. We have this little pivot signal here, 1420, a break of structure signal, a pivot zone, closed above, same idea, closed above the trend zone. So we have two powerful signals right here in the same area, and that could be a nice area to possibly scalp. You can see it, a move like this is moving up 7% over $1 per share, again, in a matter of minutes. So these aren't huge moves, but you can see that right now we're battling back and forth to see who's going to win. Right now, we did reach all the way up to our level of 1905. So our main resistance now is 1905. We want to see it close above that. So until we see a candle close above 1905, we probably will not be seeing these green candles. We may see the green trend, which is nice to see. However, if we don't see the green candles in conjunction with that, that's just one of the two strategies built into this indicator that is now showing us that bullish momentum. I like to see as many signals pointing in the same direction as possible. So guys, really simple, right? The 1 minute bullish pivot pro, using this in conjunction with our trend IQ here, and of course I have the confirmation support resistance and the volume histogram. So it seems like a lot, but as you can tell, as we're trading it live and in session, I trade Monday through Friday live in our voice channel, and you guys will hear my trades, and it's a really great way to learn how I'm approaching the market. But you can see we get this alert very early on. We got it at 9:29. This is the time of the alert at 6:29 a.m. Eastern time. And so if you're getting in here, you're waiting to confirm volume. Here's your volume. Here's your candle. Okay, great. If you were able to catch that at 6:30 in the morning, that's awesome. This is going to be your best entry, best move. And if you caught something like that, again, if we measure that whole move out, let's see what it was to the top of this. And I'm not sure that many traders held for that long. A lot of traders are in and out, took the profit and ran 139% over $7 per share. And this is a matter, again, of minutes, right? These are 1 minute candles. So this is, equates to maybe an hour or so of trading. Over here is about 7:30. So from 6:30 to 7:30, you're already up 130%. And it continued after that. You imagine that? So let's measure that out. So 629 or excuse me, 429. 474 is the price. Let's just measure from 474. That's the time of the alert that we had there. You can see that right there. Measuring that out, almost 300% is incredible, right? And again, this is from the right-hand side, 10:30 a.m. from all the way from 6:30 a.m. So just a matter of a few hours, and then all of a sudden you're looking at a 300% trade. This is why we love trading low float stocks. But that being said, there is potential for these huge wins. There's also potential for a huge loss. So we want to make sure that our indicators are built with risk mitigation built in. That's the whole point of these pivot zones, guys. And that's the whole point of this trend zone here. So depending on which one you're using, regardless of what you think, the strategy is telling you that if it comes below the pivot zone, it is bearish. If it becomes below the trend zone or trend line here, it is bearish, right? So we want to see those in conjunction. Right now, if you look over here, we are below the trend zone and we are below the strategy as well. So you can see up top, it's being labeled here. Let me see if I can make this a little larger. And we'll go too large on that. And it takes a second to load up, and there it is. So now you can see it is a short trend and it is a bearish strategy. That means we have those red candles and we have the red trend. So really it's pointing in the direction of we're going to see some lows here, or maybe some more recent lows. I don't know if it'll make lows on the day, but that is going to be the signal right now. Right now shorts are in control, so I would not be trading this long. So that's it, guys. Hopefully you learned something. If you did, I'll just let me know in the chats, and I'll try to make more videos like this coming up, and hopefully this helps. Thanks, guys.